You know that before Voldemort went crazy psychotic dictator, he tried to take over using a democracy?
I wonder how that worked out.
Decided to take over the wizarding world with a democracy.
Well, that can't just happen. There are certain rights that you have to give the people instead of just being ruthless.
Like what?
To start with, the First Amendment states that you have freedom of speech, so you need to ditch the taboo on saying your name. People have the right to say whatever they want.
Boo, you suck. Death to you and your 20 family members.
No, you can't do that. Even idiots like Ron have the freedom of speech.
Fine. Is that all?
Not even close. The First Amendment also states that the people have freedom of press. That means you have to stop censoring what people put in the Daily Prophet, even if it's talking bad about you.
Well, as long as I can still make people worship me and the ground I walk on.
You can't do that either. That's still a part of the First Amendment, freedom of religion. They could worship you if they felt like it, but they could also worship a sock or whatever else they wanted. The First Amendment also states that people have freedom to assemble and petition, so you can't go around killing people if they form a protest or start a petition against something you do. You will also have to stop taking away people's wands. The Second Amendment states that people have the right to bear arms and form a militia. Therefore, you have to let the Order of the Phoenix meet, because they have the right to gather.
I'll just have my Death Eaters keep an eye on them.
Not so fast. The Third Amendment states that people can't be forced to house troops. You can't make people keep the Death Eaters in their houses.
Fine, if I can't force them to house them, I'll just search through their stuff.
Can't do that either. The Fourth Amendment says that there can be no unreasonable search or seizure of property or person. That means you can't just look through people's stuff without reasonable suspicion. Like the stuff you did looking through people's records for mudbloods. You can't do that anymore.
Ugh! Well, what are the rules for people who do break the law?
Well, the Fifth Amendment has 3 parts, beginning with no double jeopardy. That means if you go to court and get proven innocent, you can't be tried again for the same thing, even if you come out and say, "Yeah, it was me." The next part is that everyone is protected from self-incrimination, meaning you don't have to answer questions that make you seem guilty. The last part is eminent domain. That means if you, being the government, are allowed to take someone's land unless it benefits society. If you wanted to build a new Quidditch pitch or something for the community, then you'd be allowed to as long as you paid for it.
But I want more control.
I don't really care what you want, and you're only halfway done, so shut up and listen. The Sixth Amendment gives people the right to a speedy trial, so if you killed someone, theoretically of course, you wouldn't have to wait around for 2 years to be tried and sent to jail, because you killed someone, and that's frowned upon. It also gives you the right to cross-examine. So, if a Death Eater does something bad, Harry can talk to him as well as Voldemort. The other right that the Sixth Amendment gives you is the right to know your accuser. So when Draco accuses Harry of something stupid again, Harry gets to know that Draco accused him. And if Harry actually did the crime, then he would get an attorney to represent him.
I'm really starting to get irritated with all these rights and rules.
While the Seventh Amendment gives you the right to a civil trial if damages are more than $20. So, for example, if someone sat on your wand and broke it, you could sue them. Also, if you're the kind of person who looks guilty, and or creepy with a white face and nose, and people tend to hate you on the spot, you have the right to a bench trial with only a judge, so you don't have to deal with those pesky jury people.
Seriously? Are you done yet?
Nope. The Eighth Amendment states that there can't be excessive bail, meaning you can't put bail for $1 million for stealing a pen. Plus, there can be no cruel and unusual punishment, so you can't use the Cruciatus curse on criminals, or waterboard them or anything like that.
This whole giving people rights thing is starting to sound like a real bummer.
Well, the last 2 are pretty dumb anyways. The Ninth Amendment is the unenumerated rights. That just means that just because a right isn't listed doesn't mean you don't have it. For example, your right to privacy. It means you can't creep on people through a telescope. Ron. And last but not least, the 10th Amendment says that any power that isn't given specifically to the federal government is given to the states, unless it is specifically denied to the states. So, like if you let your Death Eaters run the states, they could form a statewide knitting clubs if they wanted, unless you told them they couldn't.
I just made the decision that having a Bill of Rights is stupid, and I should be able to do whatever I want. Dictatorship, here I come!
And that is how Voldemort came to be.
Voldemort, Voldemort, ooh, Voldemort.